Hello my friends, it's Gabriel with the Last Huntsman Outdoors here. And here I have a knife, and I have to give a big shout out to Reiff Knives for sending this my way. But it is the Reiff Knives F6 Luco, which I've done a review on before, but this one is in Magnacut with micarta scales. Thank you very much, Reiff. I'm super excited about this knife. At Magnacut, they did a nice job on it. It's getting a little bit of polish and shine on it, but let's try this knife out. All right, here we have the Reiff Knives F6. So unfortunately, I'm having to refilm some of this just because, well, for whatever reason, my iPhone was on some weird setting and wouldn't let me use a lot of the video. But this is the F6. So if you like the original Reiff Knives F6, this is a different one that's just in Magnacut. Now I will say, it being in Magnacut, the weight and the balance feels a little different. And I will say, I think they thinned out the edge just a little bit more. It feels like it has a little bit finer edge on it. And this one, I did opt for the leather sheath instead of the Kydex. We'll kind of talk about that later. Undo a bit of batoning here. Put that Magnacut through to test. Although it coming from Reiff, it's not gonna, I don't think it's gonna have any issues. And that mid-saber grind that they put on here, just exploding that wood. Piece is a little more knotty. Going right through a knot. Does just fine though. Keep going here and test out some more batoning. This knife actually batons really good. This piece here is pretty knotty. Using cedar, which a lot of people would consider a softwood, and it is, but it is surprisingly knotty. So sometimes it could actually be harder to baton than even pieces of oak. A lot of variables there, but this piece is really stout. There we go. Right through a knot. All right, next with the Reiff F6 Luco here, just gonna do some notches here. There we go. A little square notch. Tent stake type of notch. Good to go. All right, another test I'm going to do here is some cross grain batoning. I'm just going to really lay on this Magnacut. Right there. There we go. Just kind of got in at a weird angle there. See if I can get one more. Beast. All right, another test I'm going to do with the Reiff F6 and Magnacut. is I'm just going to do my good old Ninja Death Grip. I'm just going to grip that thing as hard as I can. I'm just going to do some slicing. And I'm just going to kind of tell you guys right off the bat, even though this has a mid-saber grind, it's a very slicey knife, honestly. I'm very impressed with it. I actually think this one, for whatever reason, I don't know if they did the geometry just a little differently, or if they just did a thinner edge to it, or they brought the grind up slightly more. I don't know. But this one feels more slicey than even the original CPM 3V F6. And as far as comfort, it feels about the same. However, these micarta scales, I like them a lot better. They're actually very textured micarta, which I love. Thank you very much, Reiff. I love that. I'm just going to try it out with my bare hand here for a little bit. And it still feels really good. Reiff knows how to make an awesome bushcraft knife, for sure. Reiff F6 Luco is like the grail knife of like the bushcraft world. All right, next here, I'm just gonna do some feather sticks here with the Reiff F6 Luco. Got a little knot right there in the middle of my spot, which is kind of giving me a small little hiccup right there. But I'm still gonna just do the best I can. I'm actually not doing too bad. As you guys know, I've said this on about every video. I'm not the best feather stick guy. I can do feather sticks good enough to get a fire going. There are some guys that are absolutely amazing at it. Actually, I will give Jacob Peterson on his channel is actually really good at doing feather sticks. But those are pretty nice. All right, just gonna do some rope cutting here. Oh yeah, of course. Got a couple pieces right there. Easy, 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 easy with the Reiff F6. All right, so now we're gonna talk about the sheath. So I opted for the leather sheath for the Reiff F6. My original Reiff F6, Peterbilt knife guy has it now, but I had the Kydex sheath with it. It was a decent leather or Kydex sheath, but it wasn't the best Kydex sheath, I will say that. However, I got the Reiff F5 and I absolutely got mosquitoes just attacking me like crazy. I absolutely loved the leather sheath on the Reiff F5, so I opted for the leather sheath for the Reiff F6 as well. So this one is actually different though than the one I got with the Reiff F5. The one I got with the Reiff F5 was a Badger Claw Outfitters leather sheath, and this one here is a JRE Industries. So if you've ever had a LT Wright or anything like that, that's pretty much what you're getting here. Which there's no flies on this. I actually like these leather sheaths. I will say I think I liked that Badger Claw one a little bit more. I thought it was just a little nicer. However, this one's awesome leather sheath. So, you know, definitely if you're more of like the bushcrafter type of guy, the leather sheath is pretty nice. And I will say too, these are very easy to wet form. I've wet formed a handful of these. I actually even have a video on wet forming these. So I probably will go through and wet form this one eventually, and maybe even designate a fire steel for this one, because it does have a fire steel loop, which is really awesome. Reiff F6 Magnacut. Just gonna try out that 90-degree spine, get some fluff going here. Now I'm gonna try ferro rod. Not gonna get a big fire going just because it's like 90 degrees out here. So a little bit of fluff going here. we go. And let's try those feathers. Oh yeah. Reiff F6. So one of the things that I really noticed right off the bat with the Reiff F6, the spine on this one is super sharp on this Magnacut version compared to the original CPM 3V. Really like that a lot, especially for what I think this knife is kind of meant for, is like a bushcraft knife. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap up the review. And this is going to be just kind of my initial review. I will be coming back to a lot of knives that I've been testing over the years and doing longer term reviews. But this is going to be just kind of my initial review on the Reiff F6 and Magnacut. Now, right off the bat, I know a lot of people are going to look at these and they're going to complain and say, oh, it's expensive. And, you know, here's the thing. In today's economy, it is expensive. But this is an American-made knife that is going to last you a lifetime. So, you know, if you just buy it and you're a collector and you don't hardly ever use it and you just set it on the shelf, you know, kind of like Jacob Peterson's kind of suggested, then yeah, it is expensive. But if you get out there and this is like your lifelong tool and you're using it every single day type of thing, it's not expensive. It's a great investment. And, you know, something like Reiff Knives will be that lifelong tool. And so, you know, I tested the original one in CPM 3V. And honestly, I think I kind of like this Magnacut one a little bit more. I don't know what it is. I think there's just some like slight subtle differences to it. And I'm not entirely sure that I like better. I also like that polished blade. That just looks very nice, honestly. The overly distressed, tumbled kind of look, it's cool, but I just like sleek and classy, honestly. So, my overall thoughts on it is I highly suggest this knife. This knife is very nice. Very nice. I enjoy Reiff Knives. They are one of my favorite companies. And for good reason. They just make an awesome knife. This is just like, it's what I'm going to call the bushcrafter's grail knife. If you're like the avid woodsman type of guy and you're constantly crafting bushes, this is the knife for you. I really enjoy it. And so with all that being said, be prepared both physically and spiritually. God bless and carry on.